The political leader of the Hamas militant group, Ismail Haniyeh, has confirmed it is studying a new proposal to pause fighting in the Gaza Strip. Haniyeh said that the group had been invited to discuss a framework set out by Israel, United States, Qatar and Egypt. The proposal is one of the most serious peace initiatives in the months-long Israel-Hamas war. Reports say that the new proposal aims at a 6-week truce, where more Israeli hostages will be exchanged for Palestinian prisoners. The Hamas leader stressed that the group's priorities were a permanent ceasefire and full Israeli withdrawal, but Israel's Prime Minister ruled them out. The European Union has released a statement saying that the humanitarian aid to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank will continue through partner organizations till a full probe is complete. The World Health Organization has also said that the current UNRWA funding row is diverting attention from the humanitarian crisis inside the Gaza Strip. New Zealand is the latest in the list of countries that halted funding to the UNRWA group after Israeli accusations that a dozen of its employees were involved with Hamas in the October 7th attack. European Union leaders are meeting in Brussels on Thursday to agree on granting more financial aid to Ukraine. However, ahead of the meeting, a senior EU official said that the talks remain difficult. Despite Hungary signaling that it's ready for a compromise, EU leaders will try to extend over $50 billion worth of aid to Kiev through 2027. The meeting also seeks to replenish a military fund to arm Ukraine as it fights Russia's almost 2-year-old invasion. But Hungary, that maintains close relations with Russia, had already blocked the aid package once last month. It also voiced opposition to topping up the military fund. Russian attack drones hit civilian targets in the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv, injuring at least 3 people. Authorities said that the drone attack triggered a fire and damaged apartment blocks and infrastructure. Authorities in Kharkiv released footage on social media showing windows blown out of 2 high-rise apartment blocks in the city's district. The video also showed damaged shop fronts and destroyed cars. Kharkiv's regional governor said that at least 6 drones were deployed in the region. North Korea carried out its 3rd test of cruise missiles in less than a week, firing the weapons into the waters off its west coast. North Korea's official news agency released still photographs of the missile test. Now, this comes as Japan, South Korea and the United States have been expanding their combined military drills. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un portrays this as a rehearsal for invasion. According to reports, the South Korean and US intelligence agencies are analyzing the data. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with the President of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in Beijing on Tuesday. Wang said that China is a staunch advocate of multilateralism, a firm defender of the UN Charter and a firm practitioner of international law. The international body is scheduled to hold a summit in September. Wang said that China hopes it will devise practical solutions to current global issues. The UNRWA president also underscored that China enabled the adoption of the Council's first resolution since the outbreak of the ongoing Israel-Gaza war. United States National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said that he agrees with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi that US President Joe Biden and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping should speak on the phone soon. Sullivan met with Wong on January 27th in Bangkok to follow up on the Woodside summit between President Biden and President Xi last November. Sullivan also recognized the recent progress in resuming military-to-military communication and the importance of keep those channels open. The New York State Council has voted to override Mayor Eric Adams' vetoes of two bills that passed last month. One of the bills bans solitary confinement in city jails, while the other bill requires police to record lower-level investigative stops for civilians. City lawmakers called the solitary confinement cruel and torturous and said that it leads to heightened risks of injury or death for people in custody. Under existing rules, jail officials can even punish detainees who are violent or otherwise break jail rules by isolating them in a cell from 23 hours a day to 60 days. Under the How Many Stops Act, the new law reduces that to a maximum of 4 hours, with wellness checks by jail staffers every 15 minutes. British Interior Minister James Cleverly and his French counterpart Gerald Darmanin have agreed to accelerate the deployment of aerial surveillance. Now, this move aims to check the number of migrants crossing to Britain in small boats. According to Cleverly, joint efforts have prevented over 26,000 attempted crossings through the English Channel. In recent years, tens of thousands of migrants have sought to reach Britain from France's north coast. Now, this is regarded as a dangerous route as migrants attempt to navigate through one of the world's busiest shipping lanes in small boats. Venezuela's National Assembly President lashed out at the U.S. Treasury Department after it warned that the country of more sanctions if it does not comply with the election deal. In a speech to the National Assembly, he said Nicolas Maduro's government would begin working on the presidential election timetable next week. Rodriguez said that the United States should refrain from issuing any ultimatums. Washington started imposing new sanctions on Venezuela this week. This comes after the South American country's top court upheld a ban blocking the leading opposition hopeful from a presidential election later this year. According to reports, in Mexico's northwestern Sinaloa state, a fiery highway collision between a truck and a bus filled with passengers killed at least 19 people. Local authorities are, however, yet to announce the final death toll, or in fact how many people have been left injured in the incident.
Se accidentó, quedando bloqueada la circulación en el carril de norte a sur, de primero y segundo grado, pero por lo menos 19 personas que estaban en el nivel inferior prácticamente.
Brazil's environmental authorities are carrying out a large-scale cleanup of Cubatão and Seco rivers. Now, this comes after a truck accident caused a toxic chemical spill the day before. Workers removed barrels of sulfonic acid from the roadside where the accident took place. The accident spilled sulfonic acid into the Seco River, that is a tributary of the Cubatão River. The river supplies water in the city and in southeast Brazil as well. Authorities said that they expected to complete the emergency phase on Wednesday and initiate environmental action. Peru's anti-drug enforcement seized 7 tons of cocaine, marking one of the largest drug haul in the South American country. The drugs were in 2 containers and destined for Belgium. Police dogs discovered the cocaine in what seemed to be black plastic bases for floor tiles. Authorities estimate the value of the seized cocaine to be around $450 million. A British couple of Indian origin has been found guilty of smuggling more than 500 kilos of cocaine from the United Kingdom to Australia. The couple was convicted for exporting cocaine worth over $70 million via a commercial flight back in May of 2021. 59-year-old Aarti Dhir and her husband Kawaljeet Singh Rai Jada were convicted on 12 counts of exportation and 18 counts of money laundering at a trial in Southwark Crown Court. Their extradition was sought by India, but they had also been accused by Britain's National Crime Agency. The couple had set up a front company with the sole purpose of smuggling drugs. The company sent the drugs under a cover load of 6 metal toolboxes. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi have been sentenced to 14 years in prison. Both were found guilty of acquiring expensive gifts illegally from the Toshakhana or the country's state treasury while in power. The ruling comes only a day after Khan received a 10-year prison sentence in another case relating to leaking sensitive state secrets. The prison sentences mark yet another setback to Imran's electoral ambitions days before the upcoming February 8th general elections. An accountability court judge presided over the hearing at Rawalpindi's jail. The former Prime Minister is currently being detained there. Indian President Draupadi Murmu kicked off the budget session of Parliament with a joint address to both the houses. It was her first speech in the new Indian Parliament building. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the last budget of the Modi government on February 1st. It will be an interim budget ahead of the general elections in April. In her more than 70-minute-long address, President Murmu highlighted the government's key achievements in the last 10 years. She praised the Indian advances in space, digital, finance and social sectors.
इसी तरह wind power capacity दोगुनी हो चुकी है. Renewable energy
In the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh, over 300 tourists were left stranded after a night of intense snowfall. All of them have been rescued by the state's police. According to police, over 50 vehicles were stuck near the Atal Tunnel in popular tourist destination Rohtang. Soon after, a rescue operation was conducted and all tourists were safely evacuated. This comes after the Indian Meteorological Department forecast heavy snowfall and rainfall in several areas of Himachal Pradesh. An orange alert was also issued in parts of the state. In high altitude areas, snowfall is predicted to continue for much of the current week. Maldives Prosecutor General Hussein Shamim was injured in an attack in the capital city of Malé. The Prosecutor General is being treated at the ADK hospital in Malé. While the reason behind the attack remains unclear, it has shocked the Maldivian authorities. Kenyan firefighters in the central city of Nairobi are battling to extinguish a massive blaze in a commercial area near the city stadium. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained, while no casualties have been reported so far. Locals have also been helping the firefighters to douse the flame. Alaska is on track to break its snowfall records this year. A new storm has dropped nearly 17 more inches of snow on the city and bringing the seasonal total past 100 inches. The city is well on track to break its all-time record of 134.5 inches. Schools in Alaska's biggest city were closed on Monday due to the heavy snowfall. Cleanup was expected to last through the weekend. It is the earliest Alaska's largest city that has reached that mark. Torrential rain triggered landslides in various parts of Peru. According to local reports, the avalanche damaged infrastructure in the Huaral in Peru's central coastal area. The Civil Defense Office is assessing the damage and the economic losses in the area. Park officials in Scotland are using a thermal imaging drone and whistle in an attempt to lure an escaped monkey back. The Highland Wildlife Park posted on their Facebook page that a Japanese macaque has escaped the facility, also known as snow monkeys. Now, these kinds of monkeys are familiar with cold mountain habitats. People in the area are being urged to bring in any food that is stored outside to encourage the monkey to return to the park when it is hungry. A team of deep-sea explorers believe that they may have located the wreckage of famed pilot Amelia Earhart's aircraft resting largely intact on the floor of the Pacific Ocean. Examining Earhart and navigator Fred Noonan's flight path, their trail of radio signals as well as analyzing the winds and other factors allowed researchers to zero in on the possible crash site. The team hopes to return to the site soon to obtain better images with a deep water remotely operated vehicle. Earhart's Lockheed Electra went missing during her attempt at a round-the-world flight in July of 1937. Radio contact with her plane was lost after 39-year-old Earhart reported running low on fuel. In some business news now, Samsung Electronics reported a 34% year-on-year drop in profit despite a rebound in memory chip prices, attributing it to weak consumer demand. The chip business, traditionally a cash cow, faced a record low for the full year of 2023. However, losses improved as Chinese manufacturers restocked memory chips. Samsung expects a recovery in 2024, that's this year, citing increased demand from mobile and PC makers, driven by expanding AI use and server replacements. The mobile division saw a profit surge due to demand for premium smartphones and wearables. Samsung plans to grow flagship smartphones shipments and solidify its lead in foldable phones. Alphabet's Google's parent company disappointed Wall Street with lower than expected holiday season ad sales. Despite a rise in fourth quarter ad revenue to $65.5 billion, it fell short of analysts' expectations. The setback is attributed to increased competition for ad budgets from platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Amazon. Alphabet's heavy investment in AI infrastructure led to a 45% surge in capital expenditure to $11 billion. The technology giant aims to cut costs by winding down non-priority projects and anticipates $700 million in severance-related expenses.